A lot of injury issues when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys and it comes to Tyron Smith and the tackle position. I've heard from around the Star that they expect him to be ready to go. I've heard good news when it comes to Tyron Smith dealing with a couple stingers. Mike McCarthy talked about it a little bit, and then also Jerry Jones today on the Fan before Rob got on the Fan mentioned about Tyron Smith and dealing with some of those stingers. But really, Rob, whenever it comes to injuries right now, the entire NFL is dealing with it. We thought the Cowboys had the wrong end of the ship in the first week. Week 2 kind of flipped that script, but what are you hearing in terms of some of these different nagging things?
It's crazy, right? You know, I think in 2011, coming off the lockout, injuries went way up across the league, and I don't, we'll see. But right now, it seems like with no off season, maybe there's a parallel there, and across the league, teams are dealing with it. For the Cowboys, you mentioned Tyron Smith, and what Jerry said is what I've heard too. That they thought maybe he could play in week 2, and there was some optimism there, but they ultimately decided, hey, let's give him another week. Because you mentioned the stingers, man, that can be a nagging thing. It can crop back up. It can bother you all year long. Look, that's what Leighton Vander Esch was dealing with last year, and ultimately they shut him down. Not saying it's the same injury, but they want to be real careful there. So I don't think he's guaranteed to play in week 3, but I think there's definitely optimism and see how he does throughout the week. And boy, that would, while Brandon Knight, I thought, did a nice job. We talked about that yesterday. It sure would be nice to get things kind of settled down for you up front and try to get some of your continuity back. So we'll see about there. DeMarcus Lawrence, we mentioned yesterday, I believe, and Mike McCarthy kind of spoke to it, banged up his knee in the game. It doesn't sound like they're too concerned about it. At least Jerry didn't indicate that on the Fan just now. But that's something to watch this week as well. They've got to try to get healthy up front, both sides of the ball. I mean, that's where they've had some trouble and have tried to kind of do things to counteract it. But they need some continuity there, both sides.